Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to our roundtable about automation. Today, our guests are Betty and Ale.
A pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having us.
We have all witnessed about automation represented in books, movies, novels, etc., which is usually described as a society which works based on machines, where technology is all over the world, and where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence. However, we thought it was a long-term future, but currently is a reality, which not only brought a lot of changes, but also a lot of opinions about it. But what is automation? Automation, by definition, means the use of machines and computers that can operate without human help.
Automation is the process in which all of these kinds of technology will play an important role in producing goods and in helping doing tasks.
For me, automation is the robot apocalypse. Even news warns that it is night. According to The Guardian, it doesn't matter if you're a factory worker or a financial advisor or a professional food player. Automation is coming for you and it will wipe out all our jobs. Well, now let's talk about the pros and cons.
Contrary to what you just said, Ale, I think automation will bring lots of benefits to our jobs. For example, us avoiding repetitive and boring jobs, providing cheaper goods, lowering production costs. According to a Computer Business Review article, the top benefits that they see are productivity and time for increased marketing. Finally, something that I think is worth mentioning and that a lot of people forget is that they can improve safety and do dangerous jobs without risking human lives. For instance, robots that help firefighters, robots that clean nuclear sites, among others.
Well, I think you have an utopic point of view because, according to the New York Times, many tasks now done by people will be done by automation in the next few years. 40% of US jobs will disappear, and this process may also exacerbate gender inequality. And I agree with you in the last point, but what will happen to all those people that do this kind of jobs? Some of these jobs that are related to injuries or illnesses pay more than the national media a year. What will happen to all of them?
So, well, like most of technological advances, automation has pros and cons, which are relevant to consider if you want to automate a process, which range from already systemized process where precision increases and errors decreases. In addition to, as Betty mentioned, it guarantees personal safety. Although, on the other hand, it can be an expensive change to develop, and in addition, it involves the replacement of many workers. So I think that if someone wants to automate a process, they have to consider both pros and cons, but also the context and the circumstances of the process, and then examine what's the best option.
Now, going back to some of the points you both mentioned, do you think that automation has a direct impact on job losses?
Yes, I believe that it has had a big impact on job losses since, according to the World Economic Forum, to this day, 29% of jobs are done by machines, which represents a big amount of unemployment. But I also consider that there are other factors that impact unemployment even more, such as economic and government aspects, education, inflation, among others. So, what do you think about it?
I agree with you to an extent, Renata. I do not think it would have a direct impact on job losses because of the aspects you've mentioned. In fact, I think it's all the way around. It will help create new jobs, but I'll explain that later. Coming back to this question, in the 70s, people thought that the subway ticket machines would cause a mass unemployment, and this fear never materialized. Economist Susan Hausman says that there is little evidence of a link between automation and unemployment.
Well, Betty, I must say I strongly disagree with you because by the mid 2030s, one third of jobs may be at risk of being automated, according to a report of PwC. The workforce that is most likely to be disrupted are those with a low educational attachment. There is no need to look into the future, it's already happening. According to 2019 statistics from work loss due to automation, show that one industrial robot is on average doing 1.6, is replacing 1.6 human workers. It's already happening.
And now, do you think all jobs will be automated?
Well, I think it's just a matter of time. With technology evolving fast and the implementation of artificial intelligence and the creation of more complex machines, this could end up people being out of work. It doesn't matter if it doesn't happen at the same speed in all parts of the world. It's going to happen, and that's a problem.
Well, about it, I did a little research and I found an alarming number from CNN where it is considered that by 2030, an approximate of 375 million of jobs are going to be automated. However, I don't think all jobs are going to be replaced, since I think that certain jobs need reasoning, intelligence, and human creativity. But what do you think about it, Betty?
Well, I think that these kinds of questions are very difficult to answer. As you said, Ale, we would have to look at different geographies, places, different economies, because not all parts of the world have the same level of development. This means that not all countries will move as fast, and therefore, not all jobs will move as fast. And I don't see this as a problem. In other words, no, I don't think all jobs will be automated.
So you do not think that most jobs will disappear?
Exactly. According to Mark Ackerman, the regional director of ServiceNow, a software company, what will go away or disappear are those little repetitive tasks within a job. And I think there's still this need of building relationships with others. We're humans, we have emotions, and we work in different ways, and robots don't. In addition, machines cannot function on their own and they have to be constantly guided. So, what I think will happen is that jobs will evolve and adapt thanks to this automation.
Well, you could argue that jobs won't completely vanish, but that they will be redefined. But as Frey concedes, from a worker's perspective, there is not much of a difference between their job disappearing and being radically redefined, because it's most likely that this worker won't have the skills necessary to maintain the role and will be out of job anyway.
Well, this time I agree with you, Betty, since in an article published by The Guardian, Martin Ford, the author of Reigns of Robots, talks about three main classifications that jobs must have in order to consider at risk. They must be routine, repetitive, and predictable. So, the other jobs that do not meet these classifications are more certain of surviving automation, such as the case of some jobs where, according to Ford, is needed creativity, sensibility, and the ability of reason and adapt to different circumstances.
Now, I really wanted to ask this question. Do you think automation will help create new jobs? And let me go first, please. I think it will. It brings a lot of benefits that we have already mentioned that will lower cost productions, thereby stimulating demand and creating new jobs. A study run by the International Federation of Robotics found that manufacturers and workers are actually going to benefit from the use of robots. And at the end, machines won't replace humans. Rather, they will encourage us to expand our knowledge.
I also believe that it will help generate new jobs, mainly in the technological area, maybe programmers, designers, software developers. But this wave of new jobs will require a higher level of preparation. And what will happen to all these people that won't fulfill the necessary preparation? Those people will be unemployed and forgotten.
Yeah, and according to the Forrester report, job losses are predicted by 2020 being of 29%, with only 13% of job creation to compensate it. And only people that have a good economic situation will be able to expand their knowledge.
But now let's talk about women's jobs. Do you think automation will have an impact on it?
Well, I think it will have a huge impact because if you put your mind to it, women don't make a huge part of all of these careers that are science, engineering, technology, math, also known as STEM. In fact, there are very few little women in these areas, and these are the areas where new jobs will be created. So, talking about facts, there are 9 women engineers for every 100 engineers. So there's a huge impact there.
I disagree with you, Ali. I think it will have an impact, but in a positive way. A Harvard Business Review article estimated that 20% more women were going to be employed by 2030 than are today versus a 19% of men, which is kind of the same for both genders.
As you said, several reports in collaboration with Mackenzie Institute assure that automation will impact men and women equally, which represent a gender equality. However, the existing gender gap will cause women to force even more than men to achieve that equality. So the goal may favor women, but the road may be even more difficult to travel.
So, do you think automation should be banned? I want to go first in this question. I think automation should not be completely banned, but we need to establish protocols and rules before the matter is taken out of our hands.
I think that this question includes all of my previous answers. No, I don't think it should be banned, and I don't think there should be protocols to it because of all of the benefits it brings in. Rather than making jobs disappear and taking the matter of our hands out of our hands, it will redefine them and create new ones. Following the same order of ideas, what can we do to be prepared for automation in the future?
Well, as Justin Tobin mentions in an article in The Guardian, the best adaptation strategy would be to diversify our careers. This means to develop various talents in different areas and different jobs. So, what do you think about it?
Yeah, as we can see, automation will bring lots of changes. And in addition to what Renata said, I think we should calm people's fears because this change is going to help us and it will boost our productivity. So we should encourage and empower people to see this as an opportunity and not as a threat.
So, we're running out of time, and I think it's time to get our minds to a conclusion. So, if you want, I can start. After this debate, I realized that automation is going to happen. It may have some benefits, but we shall not forget that all those people that live from hand to mouth may not have the economic situation to survive the process. We tend to ignore problems that do not affect us. It's easier, but the truth is that poverty is a matter of social justice. And with automation happening, we need to figure out a way to solve all the cons that it will bring. We are all here together. Society is a system, and we can forget that automation may affect us. It does not have maybe a direct impact on us. Because if we're honest, we are in a privileged position. We can afford university, we can afford this school. But there are people that cannot. And we are all here together, so we should care.
Many times, automation and its impacts, positive and negative ones, are overblown or exaggerated. However, at the end, technology is just going to change the way we work. I think automation should not be viewed with suspicion because it drives productivity and is therefore not a risk to jobs. Failure to automate is a failure to increase productivity and as a result to have social progress and to make a change.
Well, first of all, thank you to both of you for coming. In general, as we discussed throughout this roundtable, automation has its pros and its cons, like everything that represents an advance in the future. However, we cannot be sure about the fate of the progress of automation since there is a big variety and difference in the information within articles and investigations about this topic. So, at the end, we cannot predict the future. We can only try to prepare ourselves and hope for the best. Thank you very much.